the Vice President of the Republic of Botswana for his statement. The Assembly will now hear a statement by His Excellency Juan Alfonso Fuentes Soria, Vice President of the Republic of Guatemala.
Mr. President of the 70th session of the General Assembly, Excellencies, Presidents and Heads of State, ladies and gentlemen. I come from a latitude of sun and mountains. Guatemala is our home. It is a place which is a melting pot of more than 24 languages. I am the spokesman for the President of the Republic, who represents the unity of a nation of nations, which since mid-April of this year and for 20 consecutive weeks has been an example for the world. In a massive and peaceful manner, the people of Guatemala took to the streets to express their outrage in seeing the undoing of an economic, social, and political system that has not allowed overcoming poverty and all kinds of segregation. The discovery of networks of corruption that exceed the limits of government, while it has caused discomfort in the political culture, did not devolve into violence. Rather, it was transformed into a deep feeling of solidarity and unity that forced the resignation and prosecution of the leading authorities of our country. Citizen discontent has not ended. It allowed for skepticism. Citizen participation in the elections of September 6th. It exceeded historical records, reaching the highest numbers in a general election since the return to democracy 30 years ago. In this new democratic era, the citizenship did not listen to siren songs which called for an interruption in elections, which will end on the 25th of October with balloting that will elect the new President and Vice President of the Republic. In Guatemala, we took the first step to eradicate poverty with a change of focus. To this summit, convened to adopt a new agenda for sustainable development, we bring our experience, the experience of our citizens awakening, clamoring for changes which begin by overcoming the poverty of our citizenship. To eradicate extreme poverty and hunger, we must begin by recognizing that the poor are not only those who suffer from a maldistribution of income and wealth, as we were reminded this morning in moving words by His Holiness Pope Francis. First, conditions preventing people's full participation in economic, political, and social life must be removed. The poor are those who do not have material or immaterial resources to meet the demands and social mores they are required as citizens. The poor are the object of statements of analysis, of compassion, but they are not subjects in their own lives and destinies. Poverty cannot be eradicated if it is still considered as an obstacle to the building of citizenship. The problem in Latin America, the region of the world with the greatest inequality in terms of wealth and income, is poverty caused by an absence of justice. The strength, independence, and effectiveness of the system of administration of justice is the foundation of economic and political freedoms. In our country, the greatest discrimination is suffered by the majority of the population living in poverty and the neglected of all kinds. That is, this is the invisible Guatemala that doesn't find justice when it appeals to it. Mario Vargas Llosa warns that the greatness of Great Britain in the 19th century was not in its industrialists, adventurers, or military men, but in those dark judges, headdresses in ridiculous wigs that with their actions taught the whole of the people that the law was the same for rich and for poor, and that a modest court could punish the powerful neither more nor less than the modest, and could also repair injustices large and small. Equality before the law is what has characterized the democratic spring we are now living in. Our government, with the support of the International Commission Against Impunity in Guatemala, established in 2006 by an agreement between the United Nations and the government of our country, has identified, investigated, and dismantled organized crime affecting the fundamental rights of the population. The current president of Guatemala, as a constitutional judge, is one of the signatories of the resolution approving this International Commission Against Impunity. In particular, justice for women is required in order to meet one of the Millennium Development Goals of promoting gender equality and the empowerment of women. Very few women are involved in decision-making in government agencies. This inferiority is absurd when we consider that justice is represented by a feminine image. We invite you to address the struggle of women for their rights and interests in an effort to create a new era in which men and women share responsibility for leadership and peace. We express our solidarity with the migrants suffering a humanitarian tragedy in different parts of the world, among them at the borders of Europe, and with the Central American migration, particularly that of unaccompanied migrant children. The Guatemalan identity is defined by the volume of migration and the situations of exile. Both exile and emigration have their roots in despair, but do not lead to the same hopes. The migrant does not renounce the possibility to return. Exiles, however, hastily abandoned their homeland to save their lives and cannot return until the circumstances leading to the agonizing departure have changed. The invisible Guatemala, made up of indigenous peoples, peasants, and those who have been marginalized by the system, have not been satisfied with the resignation of the leaders. They flooded the streets to warn that the amendment of some laws is not enough. They demand reforms to the state for a profound transformation of the economic, social, and political system that allows them to leave poverty behind, as well as exclusion and racism, thereby developing a true concept of national and international solidarity, an essential element of peace and security. The President of the Republic of Guatemala echoes this citizen complaint, and to this end, the Council of Ministers will put forward legislative initiatives that reflect the demands for reform and the healing of the political system as a first step in reorganizing the state. This summit brings us together to finalize an ambitious program to eradicate poverty, to promote prosperity and the well-being of people, and to protect the environment. There is a relevant reference to this in El Popol Vuh, the charter of the Guatemalan soul, with its pure form of the Guatemalan morning call. All rise, call on everyone. May no one be left behind, neither one nor two, but all as one. Thank you.